Isha, and today I have a special guest with me. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ned, aka the Mayor of Liverpool, Ned Mannoun.
And today we're going to have a casual conversation about youth advocacy, youth empowerment, and how that goes along with Ned's passion for the Liverpool City Council and politics. So, a few questions that I have written down for you. And the first one is, what inspires you the most about the city of Liverpool?
Well, I'll tell you, if you sit down and looked at what's the best thing about Liverpool, above and beyond everything, it's the people.
Okay.
Right? We are literally gathered from all over the world, every nationality, every religion, and we live here in peace and harmony. Right? And people come here because we see the opportunity. Because I think that's the other thing about Liverpool. It's this opportunity that we've come to this amazing country as migrants, whenever we came here at some point in time. And mate, it's a beautiful example of what multicultural Australia is. Or I call it even that this is new Australia. You know what I mean? To me, I think that's our biggest asset. I look forward to the day that one day when you have a kid who's gone out here, his parents have come as refugees, him or her have come as refugees, and then this person cures cancer right here because of the universities and the Ingham Institute, and because they believed in themselves, and we as a community have empowered them and done that. So I think to me, it's about the people.
The people. That's beautiful. Thank you. Second question is, do you have any words of advice for the next generation of politicians in Liverpool?
Well, I'll keep away from politics. No, far from it. Look, we need people to stand up, right? We need people who believe and don't think in your mind that. People ask me, why would you get into politics? What do you get out of it, right? At the end of the day, we're born with nothing in this life, and we're going to die with nothing in this life. That's the reality. All we're going to have with us is our deeds. So being involved in politics is an opportunity to serve. It's an opportunity to do good deeds. It's an important opportunity to stand up and fight for what is right. And I think we need people who fill in those roles and don't get involved in politics because you want a career. Because I think those politics and career don't go hand in hand, because people get scared, right? You've got to be courageous enough to stand up, and whatever tomorrow holds, you deal with it. If you're meant to go somewhere and you have faith, that's where you're supposed to be. If it's meant to be, it will happen, and nothing will stop from happening. Don't go out there and work on calculations. We have enough sneaky and Weasley politicians that are out there. We need people who are courageous, who are leaders, who are out there fighting for everybody. So my advice to you is, that's it. Be courageous, be ambitious, right? Do the right thing, and hopefully you will be, I'm not going to say rewarded. You'll get the love and respect and admiration from people, and I think that's what we need.
Okay. Right? Do you mind me asking, do you ever get scared as a politician? And if you do, how do you overcome that fear? So maybe fear of what people may think of you, because obviously, for being honest, you are known, especially within the suburb, or what people may put onto the media about you, and okay, this is not true, and there's been a false narrative about me portrayed. Does that ever bring some sort of fear?
Look, I don't think fear. There's annoyance, right? Like, to say that I'm scared of something. It's not. I never went to university. I left school at year 10, so I kind of went on a philosophical journey in life. And to me, and it's taken a long time to develop this, but whatever is going to happen is going to happen, right? We had a situation where, last year on July 18th, the government released a interim report that had no procedural fairness, and they said, we're not going to have an election, right? Based upon what's in this report. But our whole society is built upon procedural fairness principles in law. We challenged them, and we won that court case, and they admitted they didn't find procedural fairness. Now, I said to everyone, I go, do we really want to have an election? They've just thrown all this crap at us, right? And the people are going to go and judge it for us. So I guess if there was a fear, was there a fear of losing? Yeah, there was a fear of losing, right, from that point of view. But I would rather the people who I work for to say, Ned, that's it, we don't want you anymore, versus one person playing political games. Okay. So I was happy for that to happen. So yeah, there was an element of fear from that point of view. But I think, if anything, what's I guess what's transpired is it's demonstrated that, you know, people make up their own opinions,
Yeah.
right? And therefore, you know, if you're going to be scared, and I guess advice to politicians, if you're going to be scared of what a newspaper writes and that people are going to believe it as gospel, then you're really giving too much power to somebody, you know, a journalist who has spent maybe half a day researching something. And I use the word research very lightly, doing that, and they think that you're mugs, that you're just going to believe whatever they say, or somebody on a Facebook group who goes in and just goes out there and dumps, who obviously has a bias. I think people see through that stuff, and I think, you know what, people are sick of it. And I think that even the younger generation is smart enough to say, no, we make up our own minds. Don't tell us what to think.
When you said I use the word research very lightly, what exactly do you mean by that?
So back in the days, you'd have people. You had journalists. I don't know if you've ever seen Tintin, right? I remember growing up watching Tintin, right? He's really cool. It was a comic book series from, I think, the 40s, 50s, right? But they got a cool cartoon. There's a movie, Tintin, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's like the old school typical journalist, right? The investigative journalist who'd go out there and try to hunt down the facts and spend time on a story. Nowadays, you know what I mean? And it's like I have noticed that so journalism, I'm not saying it's dying, but journalists, every newsroom is getting thinner and thinner. There's less people out there. There's less journalists. So what does that mean? They've got to produce all this content,
Yeah.
but they don't have time to go into researching all the facts like to the level of quality they would. So there's a pressure to churn stuff out. Well, back in the days, a journalist would go out there and investigate deeply. Now, you know, somebody convinces a journalist with a negative angle, and I find a lot of time, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, they've got you can't change his negative angles. And it's only some newspapers that go out there and conduct themselves like that. But yeah, so you ask generally journalists. Journalism is much different than when it was 10, 15 years ago. And a lot of it's due to internet, through Google. Google has just taken on, you know, newspapers do their work because of what's it called, you know, advertising dollars.
Yeah.
If that advertising dollar has not gone onto Google, you don't have that anymore. And it's really changed. And back in the days, I used to be a paper boy. You know, you'd go out there and when I was 15 years old, walking the streets of Chipping Norton, selling newspapers. Nowadays, man, it doesn't exist anymore, right? Who's picking by? You go buy the newspaper in the morning and flick through it. Now it's gone. You used to get a local paper once a week telling you what's going on, you know, giving you a view. And I remember when I first got elected, there was like 6 journalists in one newspaper. I think in the Liverpool Leader and the Champion had like 3 or 4 journalists. Now, so it's like 10 journalists who were covering an area.
Yeah.
Now there's none, 0, right?
Wow.
So all that investigation work, and you'd go in there and you'd explain, and because they're watching every meeting and you're having constant conversation, they knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. Now that's just gone. You might get a story pop up every once in a while, but yeah.
Fair, thank you. All right. What are you most proud of as the mayor of Liverpool?
We set a very ambitious vision for the area.
Yes, that's
right?
very true. I believe that one, yeah.
And it's amazing that we're sitting here seeing it come true. And it was actually, when was it? I think, when was it? It was not last Saturday before, where it kind of all came together, right? Mm-hmm. So, and what I'm getting is about being a university city. People used to laugh at us. They laughed at me, right? I used to remember going to functions being laughed at, saying, who's going to open up a university in Liverpool, Ned? Right? There's one in Milpera. It's good enough. I'm like, no, man, we have a vision. We can become an education city. And now we've got Wollongong University, Western Sydney University. We've got the MOU with UNSW. We've got the MOU with Notre Dame, and they'll be opening up here soon. So, and then we want to be a health and medical city. We want to be a place where it's not known as, oh, Liverpool's just the back end of the world. No, Liverpool's the center of the world where really good things are happening here. The smartest things, the best sort of stuff, all the cool things. So anyway, on the Saturday, there was the opening. There was the Ingham Institute and the Perich Center for Robotics, I think they're called. They haven't officially launched yet, where they had all the cool surgical robots. We're having surgeons from all over Australia coming to Liverpool to do their CPD points to learn on these robots, right? Wow. And this only used to happen in Melbourne, and now it's happened twice outside of Melbourne, and both those times was right here in Liverpool. So we had that. Then we had in the afternoon, we had the University of Wollongong having their open day just down here, where hundreds of students were turning up, thousands of people. And then later on that day, we had our Eurofest event down in Big Park, right?
Oh yeah, right.
So all these things that we worked for they actually kind of happened on that one day. Our our vision of having Liverpool as a health city, right? A health city to benefit us locally, right? And to make sure our community gets the best outcomes, but also being able to hopefully one day take that back as bridges to our motherlands, if I can use that term. And then having the universities here recruiting kids, where there's going to be 10,000 kids students walking the streets of Liverpool very soon. And then later on that night, having the Eurofest, once again, our celebration of our people, of our culture, right? And we got recognized for our Experience the World events, where everyone has their event, whether you're, you've got lights and lanterns if you're from Southeast Asia. You've got the most blessed nights for Ramadan, Easter, Orthodox Easter, Passover, that sort of Middle Eastern, you can kind of say, starry nights for the South subcontinent. We have a Pacific of the South Pacific. We got a Primavera for the South Americans, and we have our Motherland Festival for the African continent. So when you look at all that, we won an award for that. But what I'm getting at is, we had our morning, we had our universities, and then we had the education stuff, and we had our people. So everything that we have worked together kind of happened on that day. So I guess you can say, well, I'm proud that that's actually happened and it's come to fruition. And there's more things that we set out a goal for many years ago. I used to be on the youth council. These are things that we worked out that we wanted to do, and it's starting to happen. So it's like, yeah.
Wow, that's really inspiring. That's so amazing. I think with the way that you speak, it's very obvious that you have a lot of determination. Like, it's very clear. And even when we talk about the universities, because I grew up going to school in Liverpool basically all my life, and from the very beginning of high school, there was no University of Wollongong, and finishing high school, there was now a University of Wollongong that I actually went to for a little educational day. So very inspiring. Wow. I think you basically answered my fourth question. It was, can you express how happy you are with the positive changes you have witnessed in Liverpool? I think you've basically answered it, but if you feel like you have more to add onto that question, feel free.
No, I think it's cool. Like, there's a lot more to do. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot more we need to do.
A lot more?
Oh, yeah, man.
What other suburb is doing things like Liverpool? What other suburb is opening up universities?
Never look who's behind you, look who's in front of you. You know what I mean? And then
who's in front of Liverpool?
Who's in front of us? I was born in Boston, right? I want to be like Boston, like a global city. I want people, like I said, I want the history books to be writing about Liverpool, right? I said, when I say someone's going to cure cancer, it's going to come from Liverpool, it's going to come from the England Institute, it's going to happen, right? We're going to do that stuff. We're going to create that culture of learning and education. Like I said, I want us to be able to take that back to wherever we come from. If we're connected to all the countries in the world, then great. All right, we get the benefit from here. My father was born in Sierra Leone. My mother was born in Lebanon, right? Why should we be able to benefit? Why should we be able to benefit and other people aren't able to benefit? From this, and it's a noble and worthy cause. But if you look at locally, what do we need? It's an hour to get to the city from Liverpool train station to Central. Right? Yeah. It was like that. It was 50 minutes 100 years ago on the steam train. Yeah. So how was it work? Excuse me. No, so we've got to get the metro train down. We have to get quicker trains into Liverpool. That's a must. We need to be connected to the airport, man. Right? We cannot build a car-dependent society where everyone's going to sit here and have to own a car. Like, I live in Preston's now. Go out there. Everyone's got 3 or 4 cars because the kids have grown up and they all need cars because of public transport. Sorry.
It's crazy. Right? Oh yeah, it's very poor. Thank you for addressing that. Very poor.
So the metro has always been on there getting quick. We should be going to the city in like 30 something minutes. That's my goal, right? Yeah. And then you'll start seeing people, hold on, no, I'm not going to drive anymore because I can get a good train and it's really cool. Man, that all stops thing to Liverpool, from Liverpool to the city. That's just draining, man, right? I'd rather go to Holsworthy and at least go on a quick train. Or
even like, for example, if you're on that T5 line going down towards Leppington, a lot of the times you have to get off at Glenfield and wait at Glenfield to go down to the city.
And then change again. Yeah. And it's like, damn, and then you got to drive to the station, get to the station, and Australia's about to have another 100,000 people who live in there, so it's gonna be intense.
Australia needs a station.
Austria needs it, yeah. So the metro line that they talk about going from Parramatta Westmead that's being built now, and eventually connecting that to the airport, that can easily go through Austria. I reckon they should repurpose the T-way and make that the metro line, and then it'll come through on 15th Avenue. Yeah. Now they just announced $1 billion on 15th Avenue, and there's not even a rapid bus transit corridor. So it's like, dudes, all right, yeah, go out there, everyone go buy a car, everyone go, it costs money. A car costs you at least $15,000 a year to run, all right? And it just and then on top of your tolls and this and that. So yeah, better transport, better train lines. I want to get SBS to Liverpool. Been working on that for 10 plus years. I'm not going to stop.
When you say get SBS Liverpool, what do you mean by that? Like,
So their whole production facilities, they're in Artarmon at the moment. So for 10 plus years, we've been going out there and saying SBS needs to move. Why be in Artarmon? Come and be in the center of a city. People, they talk about the housing issues that we have, right? We have plenty of land. Liverpool has plenty of opportunity to go up, and as do many other communities around here, right? But you've got to create the jobs locally to match that. You've got to build cities.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the days, the city would have a defined purpose, and there'd be something in the middle of the city, and then you'd build around that. For us, when I say to you that we're our best thing is our people and our communities, man, let's celebrate that, because in 2050, Liverpool is not going to be a multicultural society. It's going to be an Australian society, because you're going to be second, third generation, right, migrants,
Yeah.
right, and no one's keeping to themselves. What you do as a Zimbabwean Australian, I do as a Lebanese Australian or Australian, man, we're sharing that. We're already sharing that now. You know what I mean? Like we're sharing everyone's culture, and it's no longer is it multicultural. It becomes Australian culture, right? Because
I see what you're saying.
it kind of, by saying it's multicultural, it still means, oh, you guys are ethnics who have come, and there's us who are already here. But no, hold on. Now it's when you think about who you interact with every day, where they're from, on all the different people and where they come from, right? And then how many of your friends come from all different places, religions, and that, right? Like, that is Australian culture, right? So we're going through that transition. You'll see that, I think, happening more and more so. And I lost my point I was trying to get at there, where was that? But so yeah, SBS was celebrating that. So in 2050, that you've got a place that comes that you can still find your fashion, your food, your culture, your religion, that connection here, so you can tell people about, oh, this is what it's like, you know what I mean? How it was. And I think it's important for Australia, but it allows us to build a big digital economy around that, you know, and letting people work in the digital arts world. You know, I think it's a very important storytelling. And here we are. We're telling stories. We're communicating. You know, this now stays and it exists in the digital form one way or another. So I think it's an important thing that we have, and it represents who we are. You know, if anyone is SBS, we are SBS, right? So get the metro train, get the quicker trains here, get SBS out here. We got to get a stadium. You know, we got to have somewhere to have fun, man. Right? Right, infrastructure, you gotta have fun. And why do we have to go out there and travel so far? Like, look at the inequity that exists. Allianz Stadium in the city gets knocked down and rebuilt for $800 million, right? For what? How much growth have they taken those? They already had a stadium. Parramatta Stadium gets knocked down and rebuilt. $300 million gets spent on it, right? Right. Penrith Stadium now is getting. They're adding.
The Penrith Stadium.
Penrith Stadium.
I didn't even know that.
2,500 extra seats they're putting at Penrith Stadium for $300 million of our money, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even get packed out, the stadium. Oh, but
what would you say? Like the Liverpool area is one of the most busiest areas in the state?
We are growing. Southwest Sydney is growing at 20,000 people every single year.
You know what? That's fair, because I think now I'm thinking back to like when my parents migrated. I know, from what I know, they started off in the city but moved out to the west, so around Parramatta, Westmid, that side. But from the age of 6, I've been here ever since. So they moved down here, and I know a lot of our family, like community members, Zimbabweans, they followed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So when you say city, you mean the actual city, not Liverpool City?
Oh yes, city, yeah.
Yeah, city.
But from there, that was when it's just, I would say, like what, my mum and my dad. And then obviously they have children. They moved out from the city to the west, to then southwest. And we've stayed here ever since. Yeah. Ever since I was 6. And I'm 20.
And people come here because it's an opportunity. And it's not just migrants, right? People say, oh, migration is causing all these traffic issues. No, it's people who cannot afford to live in the rest of the city because they don't want to take any growth. They don't want to do, nothing over here, even though we have all the infrastructure. They have all the stadiums, they have all the art centers, right? They have all the train lines, they have the metros, they have all that, but they don't want to take the housing growth. So what happens? Their children move out here. Because people see this as a place for opportunity. So my goal, I want to give them the best value possible. So yeah, getting that stadium, getting the metro. I want to see kids. I want to see everyone get together on grand final week or every weekend, putting on a Liverpool jersey for whatever sporting team it is, and going and watching the game. Bring the community together, because everyone sort of You know, I guess I gotta say I'm a bit jealous of other communities that get to do that. We don't have that here. I want something that brings us all together. So, you know, getting those universities going, continue on, getting our river. Our river is gorgeous, and just getting back to the river. It's an amazing place, and we're just, you know, just getting rid of all this ridiculous red tape that we have to deal with from all the different other levels of government.
I feel like when people talk about politics, I think a lot of people, they get into the real, not even, no, what am I trying to say? When people talk about politics, they don't really address issues within the economy. And I think for the conversation we've had for the past 20 minutes, you've broken down what it means to live in a suburb and have to acknowledge what the suburb needs. How do you go about that? How do you break thinking into the economy? I'm trying to say, how do you manage to think about breaking bits and pieces of the economy and understand what needs to properly be addressed and what doesn't? And I'm saying this because when people talk about politics in the media, they don't really address, for example, the transport issues. They don't really address the need for us to be more connected, to grow. But from what you've mentioned, it's very important for the suburb to grow and for the economy to grow itself. And you've given me examples. So when you're thinking about the economy and when you're thinking of the growth of Liverpool, what do you do to break these things up into pieces?
Look, I want to say, I'm not going to use the word economy, right? Because to me, it's a community, right? Okay. And obviously economy is part of that, right? Don't get me wrong. But it's about providing the best, if I look at it, if I had a mission statement or a goal that I had to use, right? And I don't provide political thinking. I think business thinking. I'm an entrepreneur, right? Okay. That's what I'm more first and foremost. It's about improving the quality of life of the people of Liverpool and Southwest Sydney. That's what I do that's my goal, right? And then you think, okay, how do you improve quality of life? It's a nice fluffy statement. And I tell you, in politics, especially in bureaucracies, it's full of fluffy statements, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, when we say life, what do we have 24 hours every single day. Yeah. All right? If you're lucky, you sleep for 8 hours, right? Mm-hmm. You got to work for 8 hours, right? So there's 16 hours gone straight away. Yeah. Then you got to get to work. At the moment, 70% of Liverpool leaves every day to go to work, right? Yeah. 1.5 hours there, 1.5 hours back. By the time you step out your doorstep and go, right? Yeah. Right? Some of us luckier, there's better jobs locally, our rates, it's much better. But so anyway, that's 2-3 hours gone on traveling every day. Yeah. So there's 8 at work, there's 8 sleeping, that's 16, plus your other 3 hours there, 19 hours. What are you actually left with every day? How much time do you actually have by the time your parents come home or you come home from work, do you actually have for your own life, right? It's a few hours, right? Yeah. It's probably 3 hours maybe, whatever it is, right? So if you all of a sudden can work locally in a really cool job that you want to do, that you can live out your passion, right? And getting paid properly. If you can study locally and do your thing locally, right? Not having to do that. If I can save you an hour and a half of your day, right? Because you're only traveling. Imagine you only have to go half an hour, right? You sit there, you go from Edmondson Park or Preston's, boom, 2 stations, you're at Liverpool. Was it 2? 1, 2, now 3 stations, right? Yeah. And you're at Liverpool, right? Or you can just catch a bus and you're here. 20 minutes, you're here. Yeah. Right? 30 minutes. Like all of a sudden, you've gained that much more time. Now, what do you do with that time? Number one, we have the highest rate of diabetes. We have the highest rate of heart disease in this area, right? And do you think? But then they say to you, sitting is the new smoking. If you're sitting on your butt all day, right? Traveling in that 3 hours and sitting at work, right? Yeah. You're gonna have time to go to the gym, go for walks? No, right? But if you actually build a city where you can walk around, where you say, no, I've got time, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna go walk the dog. I can do this. I'm gonna spend time with my kids. I'm gonna be involved in the P&C, be involved in the community. So there's health benefits, social benefits, and all we've done is we've saved you 2 hours. We've saved you that 1-2 hours a day. It can actually be transformative in life. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it, it's that defined vision of improving the quality of life, mm-hmm. and then really coming up with tangible things to go there and do that. Or if you're gonna go to the city, great. You're there in half an hour. It's a quick train, right? Mm-hmm. It's these basic things, but I'll tell you this stuff doesn't come from me, right? I'm not a smart person, right? But I know how to listen, right? There's a book, if you're anyone out there, you said advice to politicians, read the book, or this is to anybody, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by, I think, Stephen Covey. It's a famous book.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Very cool.
No, I haven't.
Very cool book, right? One of them is start with the end in mind. Seek. There's numerous rules. Seek first to understand in order to be understood. Right. Actually, listen to people. Listen to people. All right. A lot of us. What do we do? We don't actually listen. We're just waiting to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a conversation. So
Yeah.
it's these simple things. And if you actually, the best way to communicate is learn how to be a good listener. Because if you can really listen properly and understand, well, why are they actually saying that for? And then you understand. What I mean? When people complaining, they're frustrated because something's going on, and you really break it down, and if you can understand that, it's like, oh wow, yeah. So that's how I live life. So how it's about to answer your question about economy. It's really understanding, but then it's having an ambitious vision that actually makes sense. There was no point to having a university in Milpera. It had to be here. It had to be near a train station. So yeah, man. It's anyway. I can get it. I can go on a bit. Sorry.
Yeah. Now you're good. That's perfect. Lastly, I'm gonna kind of reframe this question, but I want to know, or can you tell us, what made you get involved with the Liverpool City Council? And let's take it back to your younger days, because I know you were on the youth council as well. So what made you get into the youth council? How long were you in the Liverpool Youth Council for? And then what made you then decide to follow up getting into council as someone who's older?